Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today hopefully this may be the final part of the Amstrad CPC 464 restoration. Sorry, it's 464 I'm working on now. And without further ado, let's start putting it back together. So we're going to start with the keyboard here. Hopefully everything's in shot there. I'm shooting a bit further away, hopefully, so you can see everything. You can see a bit more of the desk. Hopefully you can't see too much of me. Right, so let's get started. We'll start here with the keyboard that we cleaned the other day. As you can see, this is lovely and clean now. There's no more grot or dirt or anything between them keys. The keys are really nice and clean. Everything about it is absolutely spotless. It's like new. I'm really pleased with how that came out. So that has come out really super well. So we will take the membrane. We just have to figure out how this goes back on there, like that. We take the base that we straightened the other day. Yeah, that's straight. It's as straight as I can get it anyway, I think. And all we need to do is clip this. I think this is the correct way to go. Get it back over where the clips are. And then we can just start feeding the clips back in. Make sure they're all seated correctly. I think that's all of them. And there we go. That's the keyboard back together. We'll put this back in the computer. So next we have the plastics that we cleaned previously as well. You can see these come out really well. There are a few little blemishes still on them, which are marks in the plastic, which actually didn't show up as much before I cleaned it. So it's not perfect, but it's not full of paint. There's a few tiny little bits of paint which I think I must have missed, which I will, I'll probably just get a little bit of isoprop on them when we're finished and just clean them last little bits off. There's a couple of little scratches on it which are in the plastic. There's not a lot I can do about them, and they're not horrendous. There's no big gouges out of it. There's no chips in it. There's no cracks in it. So it is a good one, really. First thing we'll do next is we will put the cassette door back together. Now I must admit I've already snapped the plastic window back in it. I wasn't actually intending to. I was just making sure everything lined up, and it just literally just clicked back in place. And considering this one was such a bugger to get out, now it's back in there. I'm not going to take it out again. So anyway, that literally does. You just line them two tags up, press it there, and it snaps back in place. So that's back in there. That's cleaned up best as I can. There's a little bit of damage to the actual aluminium that is printed on there, and the same here. I could, I suppose, touch them in with some grey paint, but you'll always see them. I'd rather just leave them like that. They're just honest wear. And let's just get this back through there. We get it back that way. Just flip this over. And what we need to do is there's two little plastic tags here, and we need to just feed them little plastic tags into them two holes. They snap in place. That's the cassette drawer back in, and we now just need to add the spring to it. So we turn it back over. Now I've got all the little bits that I've removed in this pot here, so we'll be using all these to put it back together. But what we want to do is just go through here, and there's a spring, that one there, and there's a screw for that spring, which is just a regular screw, the same as all the others, just one of these. And what we need to do is we need to get that spring on there like that. I'm trying to remember how this actually, how this spring actually goes back in. So what it does is it pushes that open when that's it, I think. Does it go in like that? No, it can't go in like that. You may have to bear with me for a second and make me feel like a right fool forgetting how this spring goes. That's it. That goes in like that, and that bit pings over there like that. So I'll just hold that down for a second with my finger. Get the old screwdriver. I think there should be a wash. There should be the washer on top of it. Just tip these out. Yeah, it should be a slightly shorter screw. That one there looks like it. Oops. Yes, it's this screw here. It's got a washer built into the top of it. Oops. This is where you need a third hand, one to hold the spring in and two to get the screw in. But there we go. That's back in position. As we can see, that's the cassette door flapping again. Keep the screws. I must do something about this bench. It's a good bench, but with having being made out of boards, it's actually made out of old pallet tops. I made this years ago when I salvaged some old pallets and pallet tops, but it does have gaps in it and things tend to drop through, so I do need to cover it. But anyway, I'm getting off the subject there. Right, we've got that back in there, so next it's probably a good idea to reinstate the data card or the tape player, which we have already serviced and cleaned and put a new belt on and cleaned all the heads of. And that sits in there. In fact, shall we put that in or shall we put the keyboard in first? I don't think it really matters. We'll put the data card in first and then curse myself after when I realise that I should have really put the keyboard in first, but never mind, we'll try it this way around. Just put a couple of screws in just to hold it to start. So let's screw in there. Put a screw in. Yeah, that's the right screw, I think. Screw in there, that's at least holding it down. Now there's a screw hole there, so we will put a screw in there. And I know there should be a screw down there and a screw down there. I don't want the screw. I may have to swap screwdrivers for that one. Let's have a look. Yeah, it needs to go right down there. So, no, that screwdriver is not magnetic. This is going to be a problem. Have I got a magnet around here I can magnetise this screwdriver? Or have I got a screwdriver that might be slightly magnetic? Let's see. What's that one? Right, that's magnetic, but it's actually a flat blade, but it should do to get it in the hole, and then we can right, I won't screw it in with that, but that's down where it should go. That's there. That comes out this way. Out this way. We'll put that back on when we've fitted the keyboard. Now there should be a screw in this corner here. That tag there should hold that cable in place, which it does now. And I believe we should have a screw down here. think there's a hole down here. Yes, there is. It's there. There's a few stray wires in the way of it. Just move them out of the way and we'll get the screw in there. Oops. That's it. Make sure we don't trap any of them wires while we get that screw in. Right, that's in position. I think this is where I swear quite loudly, unless it will slide in. Let's have a look. I think I should probably put the speaker in. Ah, no, there's enough room. Yeah, that was quite lucky. Really, I think I should have probably put that speaker in first, but fortunately enough, there was just enough room to slide that home. So the speaker's back in position. Need to route these wires around there. And what we find is that screw there that we put in earlier actually should hold this little tie. So we put that in position first. Or does it go the other way around? Just bear with me a second. Yeah, that should go in like that, and that holds them wires. Right, so that's all back as it should be. That's all back as it should be. We need to refit the volume control, and we need to refit the switch. Now I think we'll start with the volume control, which I think goes like that. Let's make sure the wiring's neat. Let's slip that back in its position. There we go, that's gone in. So we just need to secure that with a couple of screws. Yeah, that'll be fine when it's screwed into position. Get the screws for it. Put one in there. Put the other one in there. There we go, that's the volume control back in position. We'll slip the switch back into position. There we go. Again, that just needs securing with its screws. Get in there. Make sure we don't trap them wires to the volume controls. We fit that down. So that's back in position. That's the power switch. That's on and off. So next we will put the keyboard back in here. In fact, before we do that, let's just flick this over. Just to make sure that the lid works, which it does. That the button for the that is free, which it is. All the buttons work, which they do. Oops, I don't break my fluorescent lights, which I nearly did. And next we will reinsert the keyboard, which we have here, all nice and clean. Now what we need to do, get this in position, and feed those two wires that go to the cassette player through that hole. I think it's that hole. I hope it's that hole. It wasn't that hole. It was that hole. It's always wrong. Always bad when you get the wrong hole. Right, so that's the keyboard back in position. And we'll secure that down. It's these big screws for this. I don't know why they've used so many different types of screws in these computers. It's not really necessary. And even in the keyboard, they actually have one of the screws as a one of the standard case screws, and all the rest of these big ones, which I thought was a bit odd. So that's two in. Two more this side. That's three. Another one over here. Four. And we've got one more of them big ones. Which is 5. Then we need to use one more of these small ones over here, and that's the keyboard back in the case, as we can see. And all I need to do now is just reconnect the LED onto the tape here, and it's just these two connections here. I've already got the iron warmed up. I just need a tiny little bit of solder, which I'm sure is on my bench somewhere. Ah, there's some. Yeah, I've got a very untidy bench, I know that. Let's just, it's in the end of the iron. And we'll just literally touch these wires back into their requisite connections. Negative on. Positive on. There we go. So that's the LED hooked back up, and we will leave that part of the case for now. So that is all built back up and ready. We've got the base back here, lovely and clean, as you can see. And let's let us get our now where is it? There it is. We have our nice clean new well, not new, but refurbished main board. So let us get this back in the computer. What we need to do is line it up with the right holes. Then we need this little thing here. Start with our first screw, and we need to get this in a position where it's not going to short anything when we connect it to the keyboard. So we need to get it like that. That's it, that's the first screw in. Alright, length. Yeah, here it is. I think all these are the same length now. I think the only short ones were like holding the switches down and the volume control, things like that. That's another screw in. Another screw in. other screw in. It's really boring watching me screw, isn't it? Sorry, bad joke. Very, very bad joke there. Right. So that is the motherboard connected back to the case. So we have got our keyboard, and I've just realised something which I haven't done, which is to put this little tab. Where is it now? That one. Yeah, sorry. This little tag here, which should go from there to there. I believe I removed it from. It needs to go from the cassette board to the keyboard. So I think it is anyway. Oh no, because that's what this is. That must just be a stray wire. We'll forget that for now. If it's needed, I'm sure we'll find it. But no, that is what connects from the cassette deck to the keyboard. So we need to push that connector on there, like that. Turn this back round. We'll reconnect the keyboard. Like that. That connector there goes onto the keyboard to ground the keyboard. This connector then goes onto the motherboard. That connects the motherboard with the cassette unit. We will sit that down there. Now, how confident are we feeling? Do we? Oh, that's just getting in the way there of the edge connector. Let's just blend that round. Close that back up. Okay, how confident are we feeling? Do we put the do we put all the screws back in this before we try it or not? Shall we? Yeah, let's be really smug and confident. Sorry if I'm doing this off shot, it's just a little easier to do it with it sat on my knee. Go on, get in that hole. Get in that hole. Always one that's a bit of a pain to get in. There we go, that's it, it's in. Right, okay. Sorry you might not be able to see that, but there we are. That's the computer put back together. So shall we try it? Let's see what we can do. Let's see what the computer will do. I'll just switch my monitor on. We need to connect that to there. Then we need 5 volts power, which is like hump round. My workbench is really messy at the moment. I will fully admit it's completely and totally messed up, but never mind. That's still plugged in. That's switched off there. Plug that in there. We will set the monitor. That's the monitor set up. And we need to put the monitor into RGB mode, which it is. We'll switch the power on, we will switch the computer on. There we get, and the computer is on at least. I don't know, can you see that on the camera? No, you can't. As we can see, the computer is actually on. But the question is, will it load a tape? In fact, will the keyboard work? So let's try that. Let's try 10, print, shift, hello world, shift, there we go, 20, go, no not gop, go to 10, let's run that. Yeah, so the keyboard's working, the computer seems to be happy. So let's clear the screen. Right, now have I got a cassette kicking about here? I'm sure I should have one. There we go, we've got that Trivial Pursuits cassette. So we don't know where this is going to load, but we can at least test the operation of the cassette player with it. Let's put that in there. Let's rewind the cassette. Now this is first test, really, with the cassette deck after all the service. And if you remember, when we first tried this, we couldn't get the cassettes to load. So Control, Shift and Enter. Right, press play, then any key. So let's press play. We've pressed play, let's press any key. Oh look there, look at that, that's the tape playing. So that is now working. Let's make sure the volume's up. And we will see if we get any loading action. Like I said, I don't know about this tape. I don't know how many other Amstrad tapes I've actually got kicking around down here. Let me see if I can find any other Amstrad tapes, just in case that one is duff. Oh, although I do hear something. And if we look on screen there, the tape player did stop and start correctly. Screen's gone blank, and there we go. As we can see, we have Trivial Pursuits loading. So we even got a free game with the computer that seems to work. Actually, I don't know if you can play this with just the tape. I don't know if you need the board and everything as well, but never mind. At least it shows that the computer's working. I've got another test tape. So yeah, I suppose I better leave it at that. So as you can see, that's what goes into taking a attic find Amstrad CPC 464 and turning it back into a fully working computer. Now there are some other things. Obviously I'm going to just test once this is loaded. I'll probably test the joystick. I'll probably play a few games on this one, just see how good it is. I may get a little bit of T-cut and see if I can buff a few of the scratches out of the perspex on the clear lid there, because it is quite scratched. There's no muck or dirt on it anymore, but it has got a few scratches on it. I'll see if I can get them off. We'll see if I can spot any more little bits of white paint on it and get them off. But apart from that, that one obviously is going to get a good long soak test as well. But apart from that, I think that is another Amstrad CPC 464 saved and hopefully ready to find a new owner. So I think I'll leave it at that. There's no point in me letting this 5-10 minute long game load and watch that. You can see it's now working and loading. So I think I'll leave it at that. So thanks for watching and goodbye.